Alright, 1 second, boys. I need to add my camera in here. Allow. Okay, let me adjust that real quick. Okay, hey guys. So I'm actually going to be bringing you guys a Week 1 prediction video for the first week of the NFL 2020 season. Now, I want everyone to realize that you can take this with a grain of salt because right now there's COVID going on. There's players have already opted out, and so yeah, this football season is going to be a little bit weird. There's not going to be much fan attendance, if any, for at least the first week or two of the season, and that will definitely play a factor into most of my predictions in the first 2 weeks. But first, let's go ahead and start with the matchup that's coming up on Thursday. We are going to have the Chiefs playing the Texans in Kansas City. I think the Chiefs have the edge here. They lost Damian Williams for him opting out. I think he might have been the only one, if not maybe the only 2 or 3 players that opted out for the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, for the most part, still have all their big boys, all their starters are still around. So I do not see them taking too many steps back. I think it'll be a competitive game. Deshaun Watson and the Texans always seem to bring it when they play a team like the Chiefs. So I think the Chiefs do win, and it's probably going to be a close one. I hope for a shootout, but who knows. Next, we have the Green Bay Packers traveling to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is an interesting matchup. We haven't seen much improvement from either side or either team here. In fact, I believe the Vikings actually got hurt a lot by the offseason, losing a lot of defensive players, which was their strength of their team. They did lock in Kirk Cousins for 2 more years. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Packers, obviously, away from home, have never had the best track record. I mean, they're never terrible away from home. But the last couple years, they've been either splitting it with the Vikings or where they've just swept them. This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Green Bay, though. I wouldn't be shocked if the Vikings win at home, but Green Bay, I believe, has the advantage. Aaron Rodgers is still the quarterback, so as long as he isn't, injured or something, I still give them the upper hand here. And because of Rodgers, you can never really count the Packers out. I do believe that the Packers' greatest weakness right now is their wide receiving core on the offensive side. But the Vikings, with how much they got hit on the defense, I believe they're going to have to keep pace on offense. And with Kirk Cousins, I don't know if I can trust Kirk Cousins to do what he has to do. The one thing going for the Vikings, not a primetime game, and nobody's winning the game, so there's nobody over or under 500, which typically, if you guys know his track record, Kirk Cousins cannot beat anybody over 500 record-wise. But I do think the Packers just have a little bit too much on offense still, even without a established receiving core. And I do believe that the hits the Vikings took on defense might be the deciding factor here. So I'm going to say Packers win. The Dolphins traveling to the Patriots. Now, Dolphins will be led by, assumingly, Tua Tagovailoa. That was probably pronounced terribly, and everyone's going to hate me for it. And they're going to battle against Cam Newton, the newest quarterback of the New England Patriots, in Foxborough. Now, the thing is, there's no Brady, obviously. They lost some pretty key players on both sides of the ball to the free agency period, as well as about 6 or 7 people opted out for the season on both sides of the ball, combined. So the Patriots definitely are not the powerhouse they once were, as many people would know by this point. I still am not quite sure about this matchup. I'm going to say I think the Patriots still do just enough to win, but it's not a dominant win by any means. I do think they score a lot less points than they did last year. They don't have Brady's, and even though they have Cam, who knows how he'll adapt to the Patriots' play style. But I do think the Patriots win, maybe by 2 touchdowns at max, but I don't make score predictions, but that would be what I would think. A couple touchdowns would probably separate them. We have the now Phillip Rivers-led Colts versus the Gardner Minshew-led Jaguars. The The Jaguars just recently lost two very big pieces on defense. I think they actually lost one or two, and then on offense they lost Leonard Fournette. They lost quite a few people before that to rather it be free agency or whatever. So the Jaguars defense is basically a shell of what it was mere 2 or 3 years ago. And the Colts, meanwhile, have Phillip Rivers, which is definitely an improvement over Jacoby Brissett. Their offensive line is stout, which is what the Chargers were missing last year with Rivers. And they have a young, hungry defense. On the other side, Gardner Minshew didn't play bad that much last year. But I do believe that the Colts have a stifling defense when they need to. The offense is going to be going in the right direction under Rivers instead of Jacoby. So I'm going to say the Colts do win, and probably a close one if I were to wager, which I don't. Then we have the slightly more improved Browns, not, from last year, but whatever. The Browns traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. I think with Baker Mayfield refocusing this year after kind of getting taken by the white noise, so to speak, I believe the Browns might be a little bit more competitive this year. Still probably won't hit that 500 mark record-wise, but I hope to see them compete in other games, but this is not one of them. I do think that the Ravens are still a little bit too much for the Browns right now on offense, and their defense is as stifling as ever. So I think the Ravens do win, though. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns keep that more competitive than any of us are thinking. We will have Chicago traveling to Detroit. Now, Chicago has already made Mitch Kissintitties their starting quarterback, and that doesn't bode well for me personally. Mitch has never been great at playing quarterback. Now, the Lions are not a stout team. They did lose Darius Slay, though they did pick up Jeff Okudah. But it's a very tough game to predict for sure. I do think that with Matt Stafford, the Lions have a chance. If he can find a way to decipher their defense, that will be the deciding factor. Right now, I'm saying Bears win, but if Stafford plays out of his mind, that could very easily be a Detroit win. We have the New York Jets going against the Buffalo Bills. I do think Buffalo has this one. They obviously have a stout defense. They've had a stout defense for a few years now. Their offense, I feel like, is finally catching up with the added actual, number one star receiver. Stephon Diggs is definitely a big get for them. The Jets are the Jets, so it's hard to kind of, know for a fact how they're going to play. But I think Buffalo takes down the Jets in what might be a shockingly close matchup, or it could be an absolute slugfest on defense. Who knows? But I do believe Buffalo does get the win week 1 against the Jets. We have the Eagles traveling to football team, the Washington football team, formerly known as the Redskins, aka Deadskins. The Redskins, though they have Haskins, they have Alex Smith back too, which is a very good, very feel-good story there. Might do a video on, Alex Smith in a separate time frame. I do think that it's a bit of a tougher one to figure out. Eagles do have the talent for sure, but they're already getting hit hard with the injury bug, so I'm not entirely sure how well they'll play. Washington could easily pull off an upset here, but I'm going to go with the Eagles, strictly because Washington has been absolutely god-awful for years now, and I don't see that changing right now. We have Seattle traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. I'm going Seattle here. The Falcons did make very good improvements to their team, specifically Todd Gurley, but at the same time, the Seahawks made improvements as well. They went ahead, grabbed Jamal Adams, so their run-stopping ability should be better, and their safety core should be a little bit better this year too. They're an aging defense, but they're definitely not a defense that cannot hold their own against a team like the Falcons. The Falcons, however, do have Julio Jones still to worry about, and if the Seahawks do not have an answer for him, this might be a long day for them. But I do think Seattle wins it in what will likely be a close one. Then we have the Oakland Raiders going against the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Raiders, I believe, do win this one. This one is probably going to be an upset of the week. Um, I'm a Chargers fan. As much as the Raiders are an opposing team, I have to recognize what talent they do have on their roster. The Panthers, though they have Teddy Bridgewater, has not shown that starting caliber performance. He had 5 wins last year standing in for Breeze, but he didn't really have a standout performance, I don't think, in any of those games, maybe one of them. And he'll have to consistently stand out to help Chris McCaffrey carry the load of this otherwise hollow carcass that was once a great football team. With that being said, I think the Raiders do win. I think this one, once again, will be a very close game, but I do give the advantage to Oakland. Here we go with the afternoon games. We have Cardinals going to San Francisco to take on the Niners. Now, Niners have already lost quite a few players to injury as well. Nobody super major. I know they lost Jason Verrett and a few other players like that. I do believe the Cardinals are going to be a bit more of a threat this year. I'm actually going to I'm going to say the Niners win. Probably going to be a close game, and this will be another one, or might be a low-scoring game or a close game. Can't tell you which right now. But I believe the Cardinals are a threat. We're just not sure how big of one they are quite yet. So I'm going to go with the Niners. We have the first of 2 matchups between the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers against the Breeze-led Saints. I think the Saints win this. They're at home. They're in the Dome. Drew Brees is going to be fully healthy going into this one. And I do believe that the Saints defense is going to do just enough to shut down the aging Tom Brady in the shell of Gronk that they have right now. Mike Evans still might be a problem, but I do believe the Saints have enough to stifle the Buccaneers when they need to. The Cowboys traveling to LA to take on the Rams. I'm going Cowboys here. This is a bit of a tentative pick for sure. We know the Cowboys aren't great away from home. They do have Zeke, and they have all these weapons, so strictly because of the difference in talent level from the Cowboys offense by itself, I do believe the Cowboys have a very good chance at winning this game. Though the Rams are at home, and they are definitely the more supported team between the Chargers and themselves, I do think the Cowboys might do just enough to squeak out a win here. They got the Steelers traveling to New York to take on the Giants. Now, I'm going to say the Steelers win this. I think Big Ben, even though he's coming off an injury, is still Big Ben. I think James Conner is probably going to run right through this Giants defense that made very little improvements over the offseason. And one of their improvements actually got arrested. So, there's that. But I do believe the Steelers win. Might be a big win. I'm not quite sure yet on that. But I think it will definitely be at least a double-digit win. The Titans travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. This one's a bit of a toss-up for me. The Broncos have a lot of talent on defense. Drew Lock is definitely going to step into his own here. And Courtland Sutton is definitely a threat. The Titans are the runners-up last year for the AFC Championship game. They have Henry. They have a rejuvenized Ryan Tannehill. Their defense now bolsters Jadeveon Clowney. So this one will definitely be a defensive battle, probably a low-scoring game, most likely a low-scoring game, probably a combined of less than maybe 35 points between the two teams. That I consider to be maybe the highest it would possibly go. And those are the 2 Monday night games. Now let's predict the Chargers and Bengals, which will be one of the later games, probably one of the first ones to start. Me being a Chargers fan, obviously in my heart, I'm picking the Chargers. But in terms of the actual physical, me having to pick, we still don't know which quarterback it's going to be this year. Tyrod is getting the start this week. We just locked down Keenan Allen for $40 million or 4 years for $80 million or something like that. We locked down Bosa for the long term. All the other Chargers defensively are still here, and the defense has improved a lot. I'm going to go with the Chargers just because of our defense. The question mark at quarterback may plague us later, but for this week, I do not think it will. And that is the predictions for Week 1. I hope you guys do enjoy. Comment down below what your predictions are this week for each and every game. And just be nice in the comments to each other. I don't want to see people ragging on each other's teams in the comments right now. We can do that after the week is, and when I do the Week 2, you guys can talk shit in the comments after that. But right now it's Week 1. COVID breakout's going to make these games a bit more odd because a lot of players have either opted out, already been injured, and there's not any fans. So it's going to be tough. But thank you guys for watching. Hit me with a like if you did enjoy the video. Hit me with a sub if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.